Hello friends, happy March. I know it doesn't really look like March in my like fluffy sweatshirt, but it is a dreary day outside, so I was like, let's be cozy. Today I thought we would do some planning together. So March has technically already started, but you know, when months start in the middle of the week, it's like, I feel like it's better to like start them on a different week. So anyway, I know it will be late for you, but we're gonna hang out anyway. So in this video, I'm gonna kind of take you through my process for like resetting for a new month and kind of planning through things. I would love to have like a super intricate reset routine where we're like cleaning things and doing this and doing that, but the reality is I don't. I do have a couple things that I do every month, and so I just really want to take you through mostly like the planning situation, like how I figure out what to focus on and things like that. So let's make some coffee and let's get to it. Still over here just refusing to use a tripod whenever I can. Okay, so when it comes to a new month, the supplies that I'm going for is I'm going to use my bullet journal, and then I use my notebook, and then I'm also using my journal. This is my like long form where I just like write and write and write and write. And one thing I'll say, which we'll kind of go over this soon, is I have been journaling way more this year. I used to do maybe like once a week, 2 or 3 times on a good week. I've been doing more like 3 to 5 times a week, and I cannot tell you the difference I feel just in the one thing, because like all the thoughts are out of my head and instead they are out on paper. And just like once you get something out of your head, it is so much clearer and your brain just feels so much calmer, and like I can think through things so much better. So highly recommend if you're looking for a little bit more calm in your life. Okay, so we've got that, we've got these 2 things. Now my process for a new month, a couple things I've already done. So one is budgeting. I do like a March budget, but I pretty much always start it before March starts and end it before March ends. So it's usually off by like a week or 2 just because of, you know, where things fall and wanting to make sure I have like certain payments. The other thing I do is I set up my bullet journal spread, which I already did. Here's my March. So I have this notebook because I really like my beginning of year pages. I only have enough pages for 3 spreads per month for the rest of the year. So no more cover spreads for me. So instead I did like kind of a cover situation. And then goals, action items, which we'll go over today, weeks. So I have the plans for the weeks. 2 calendars is this one. I bought these calendars from Erin Condren. They're stickers, and I've been liking them because then I don't have to draw out all the boxes and stuff. And I went to do them and I realized that there's no March. So I emailed Erin Condren, was like, hey, I bought these stickers and I don't have March. So they're actually sending me a whole new pack, which is super nice of them because I bought them, you know, December. Yeah, December. So they definitely didn't have to send me a new set, but they are sending me a new set. So that's gonna go here, and that's where I put not really events, but more like deadlines, things I'm working on, you know, like I want to have this up by this date. I do have some deadlines I need to go through today, that kind of stuff. Content is going here, and then expenses tracking here. And then this page, I feel like, you know, in the testing books where they're like, this page is intentionally left blank, which always drove me crazy because I'm like, you wrote that it's intentionally left blank, so it's not actually blank anymore. But I leave it blank because I've been adding like little memory keeping things to the end, and it's been so fun. So like in January, we went to George L. Smith State Park and Fort Yargo State Park, which is where I spoke at GMEA. So I just added fun, you know, just little things there. And then last month, my brother-in-law got married, so I have some pictures of that and the wedding invitation, and then the concert that I sang in, and then a picture of me in front of my old high school, because I went to an arts high school and I actually got to go and judge their auditions the other day, which was super cool. So anyway, a couple things I do before the month begins is I always do budget, and I always do bullet journal setup, and if you want to budget together, we can do that. Let me know, and we can do that on a different day. So that is how I set that up. The other thing that I actually have already done is kind of the beginning parts of what we're going to talk about today when it comes to a new month. So specifically, I went through in my journal just yesterday, so I'm not super ahead, and I went through some of the things that we're going to talk through today. So I'll be using that kind of as a reference so that I was a little more prepared for this video, and just also because I like to. Okay, so let's get started now that we've got these two things. Mostly we're going to be filling out my bullet journal is what we're going to do. So March. First of all, it is helpful to see what you have going on. So I have little calendars at the beginning of my bullet journal that have my like events, and these are things that kind of affect your planning, specifically in that you can see, hey, I have, you know, all these things going on. Maybe I don't have as much time for X, Y, Z. Or if you see like, I'm like, oh, look, I have this day off school and this day off school. And so I might end up with a little bit extra time. I don't have stuff like, oh my gosh, y'all. We were so busy in January and February. It was weird. Like January and February are usually super chill and not very busy. And they were so busy. Like, I mean, things every weekend, and like big things like going out of town, doing, you know, a wedding, going out of town again, going to a conference, like big things that were like every single weekend. And I don't have that in the coming month. And so that tells me my calendar is a little more open. I have a little bit more room to play with as far as stuff that I want to get done. So that's just something that I like to look at and keep in mind. Next up, I like to go through and the previous month and kind of think through how things went, what went well, what did not go well, what I accomplished, like that kind of stuff. So I already did that, like I said, and I'm a long form person, so I like it in my long form journal. And as I went through that, I realized that like I did really well with my morning routine until I got sick, because I was sick for a while. But my morning routine has been great. I've been killing it. My afternoon routine has been all over the place, which is in part because I've been really busy. And so like it's not entirely, you know, a failing of mine, but it is important to note those kind of things so that moving forward in March, I can be a little more intentional. So that's going to be a big focus for me in March, is like looking at my afternoon routine and making sure that I'm doing things I want to do and I'm not just, you know, busy all the time and full of random stuff. So that's something that I will be looking at. Well, where are my goals in February? February was like Jane Austen inspired. I thought that was cute. So those are all Jane Austen books. And then this is a Jane Austen quote. So it isn't what we say or think that defines us, but what we do. That was cute. I'm reading Sense and Sensibility. Okay, let's see. I had 6 goals that I wanted to do in February. Number 1, spring songs packs posted. I did not do that. Last year, I made a bunch of song packs. So when I do like a song pack, like lesson pack, I do slides, I do printables, and usually there's a third something. So that might be a game or an activity that goes along with it, but usually is not as related. So like I have BB Bumblebee slides, I have BB Bumblebee worksheets, and then I have bee vocalization activities. So they're not the same thing, but they're within the realm. I have a bunch of things that I never posted. So I posted all the slides, but I didn't end up posting all the worksheets. And it was just one of those, like, I need to take the pictures for them. And so I kept putting it off, And so I decided, I was like, you know what, we'll save it for next year. So I was gonna do it in February. And then the other day I was looking at it and I realized there was so much more that I thought there was. So yeah, that's moving on to March, and it is getting done in March for sure. One problem is I do product photography for printable things, and April, or oh my gosh, what month is it? February that passed is very dark, which makes product photos really hard. And then I was really busy. So like usually I'll do them on the weekends, but I was busy, and so yeah. That's my excuse. Number 2, I was gonna do a song pack for Closet Key. Didn't even start that. Number 3, Treble Clef Rate the Room. I did big, huge check for that. That was a giant thing that I worked on. Bundles updated. I did some. So I made some bundles for my Rate the Room activities. I didn't finish all the way. And then a funnel for my centers course. I did that. So we did not, I feel like we did not do that well in February. To be fair, I did make a rhythm game I wasn't planning on making, so I do have that. So it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything, and then also I was sick and I was really busy, and so, you know, that's the constant theme, but you know, it does warrant being said. And so as I look at that, I'm like, okay, maybe I planned too much for a short month where I had a lot going on. It's really what that tells me as I'm looking at it. I do have a lot that I want to do in March though, just to be fair. Yeah, so going through goals and action steps that you wanted to do to see whether or not you did them is really important. And if you didn't do them, like, just figure out why. It's not an attack on your character. You're probably not doing this on camera, so probably no one's gonna see it, but just like at it and be like, oh, I need to do better. Or I planned way too much, and that's what's wrong with my coffee. I was like, man, this tastes weird. I didn't put any syrup in it. Couldn't figure it out. That's what it was. Okay. Anyway, then I like to go through and think through like things that were good and not good. So I already said my morning routine was great. One thing I didn't love is that I feel like the only thing that I did in my morning work times the whole month is write emails. And the reason is because I have not been batching my emails very well, and so instead of batching them, it's like every day I'm like, oh, I gotta write emails, oh, I gotta write emails, oh, I gotta write emails. And so I feel like that's all I've done. We had the February sale, which requires a lot of emails, and I made a funnel for my centers course, and that requires a lot of emails. So that also made it feel really email heavy, but that's something I'm going to be really conscious of going into next month, is that I want to make sure that I'm batching my emails so I don't feel like that's the only thing I've got going on. So as you're doing all these things, by the way, you should probably have a notebook out, and on that notebook you're collecting different things. So collecting things you want to do, collecting things you don't want to do, collecting things you need to work on and focus on, and that kind of stuff, to kind of start your list for what we want to get done. Then also make sure you check in with your yearly goals and see what those are, because that might show you, you're either going to say, hey, I'm on track for this, or hey, I'm not on track for this. And then you can adjust accordingly. So as you look through that, you might be like, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. Different things like that. And just having it at least once a month where you check in with those yearly goals, hopefully more. I look at mine every single day, is going to really help make sure that you like stay on track for the year. Okay, so we've got review last month for action items, look through your calendar, look at your yearly goals, and then look through any loops that need to be closed. Like my spring song packs need to be finished this month. Now I like to keep, I'll show you these. I do like a little quarterly plan. So I have for each quarter, it just says like goals to do, and then each month. And so I've already been putting things in there. So I already have a couple of things down for March that I know that I wanted to do, or that I thought I might want to do. And so the first thing I did is I transferred those to just a notebook. So out of reviewing, out of looking at my goals for the year, out of looking at my quarterly plans that I already have down, I came up with a couple of action items and things I want to do. So for March, my goals, I guess I can write this down as we talk about them. Okay, so my goals for March are going to be, number 1 is promote my email list, because that is one of the most important things to me this year. I had that revelation actually this month, or in February. I was like, I need to grow the email list. Like that's kind of what needs to be priority number 1. So promote my email list, which is a terrible goal because the goal should be, you know, gain X number of followers or whatever. So let's say promote my email list. I know I have a blog going out, and let's do 4 reels that all promote my email list. That way I know whether I get to check it off or not. That's how we want to do that. Now, out of that is going to be a couple of things that I need to do. So under action items on the second part, I'm going to write down with a little checkbox. I know that I need to take photos and videos of one of my freebies that's like a spring theme. I know I need to get that blog out, and I want to add that to my centers funnel. Okay, so I just took my goal and turned it into 3 action items. This is where the magic happens, because a lot of people do this and then they don't do this, and so you never know what you actually need to do. I do really like that. I should take a picture before it's too done. Okay, and then I'm gonna put down 4 reels. So I have 4 action items out of that. And actually I'm gonna do reels, and I'll do 4 boxes. 2, 3, 4. Okay, the next thing is when I was thinking about loops that I needed to close. So closing loops means I opened a loop, I started something last month that I need to close, I need to finish. So I started some song packs. I started doing one for a Tisket to Tasket. I started one for Rain Rain Go Away because my students were doing each of those things. And then I really need to do one for Closet Key. So I'm looping all of those into spring song packs. Again. So spring song packs uploaded is the goal. The action items are each of those song packs. So a Tisket to Tasket, Rain Rain, Closet Key, and then I'm gonna update Que Llueva, because that goes along with Rain Rain. I have written on my quarterly plan that I want to do another rhythm game. I finally decided how I wanted to do a particular rhythm game, which I am pumped about. And the way I want to do it means I only need 1 set and not 18,000, which is great. So that's going on my goal, and it also goes on my action list as just the one thing. Then I want to do my first STEAM project, which I know that it sounds like a lot that I'm putting on myself. 1, if I don't finish them, that's fine. 2, I know that I have some weekends that I can work on these things. And honestly, I'm trying to work really hard in March because I know that April and May, I always make less in April and May than I do in March. So kind of like this is my last chance to make a good amount of money. And so I'm trying to get just as much as I can done and out and all those. And so STEAM lessons, I really want to do music STEAM lessons. I want to do the first one this year, or this month. And it's going to be about the science of sound, specifically like drumming. Post backlog of products. Weight loss goal, which is a little bit ambitious. But I've been doing pretty well so far this year. I've lost 9 pounds in 2 months. And my goal is 3 to 5 per month. So I feel like that's pretty reasonable. Actually, that's like right on track. And when I went through my goals for the year, I realized one of my goals is to leave at a certain time in the morning to give myself a little bit of extra wiggle room to get to work early. And I think I did it like 3 times in February. Like, I've been terrible at that. So that is gonna be one of my big things. And then I really want to do some spring color by notes, but I don't even have room in my goal section. So I'm gonna put it here on the side as a if you get to it. And if I don't get to it, it doesn't count against me. I haven't failed. Just, you know, if you get to it. Okay. Let's see. I need to do some data today. I need to do some updates. I need to look at due dates because I'm presenting at the Teacher Sellers Summit. That's the online summit that I did last year. So I need to look at, I know there's some due dates coming. And then I'm gonna make a list of things to post here under action items so that I can remember all that needs to go up. Now, once you have all this down, it can feel super overwhelming because a month is a pretty good amount of time, but it's not that much time. So next step for me is gonna be to move things to the individual weeks. And this is where it's really important to be aware of what you have going on throughout the month. So I'll probably write in there anything that's going on, but you don't wanna be like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, do 18 things on a week when you have a concert, you know, and stuff like that. So just be aware of what you've got going on. So I'm flipping back to my March so that I can see. And I don't have anything too crazy except the last week of the month. I do have more rehearsals for the musical, so I do need to be aware of that. Let me get this sorted. Alright, so I went through and I added in things for the weeks. I always add a lot more to like this coming week than the weeks at the end of the month because I don't know entirely what's going to be going on. I added in content I knew I was going to be posting. I also realized that I really need to do some content planning because I had nothing planned. So I got a sticky note and I wrote out a couple of ideas, but I didn't want to put them in since I don't have any of them filmed at all. So that way I can kind of just, you know, put them in when need be, made sure everything was filled out. And that is the extent of my monthly planning. So now I'll go through those things I decided were going to be for this week and I will add them to this week on my notebook planner. I'm also going to switch out the covers. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's two more steps I need to do. One is I need to look through anything that needs to be updated for this month. So I need to get into my data over here. I guess we can do that together. And then the other thing is I need to go through my data and figure out like what products have been selling and what products, you know, where do I need my focus to be and all that fun stuff. So that I will not do because that takes forever because I go through everything and I figure out how much money I've made from every different platform and I like really analyze everything and like it's a very detailed thing. That could be a whole video in itself. There we go. Now we're logged on. You don't need to watch me do this. I'll do this and I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for playing with me.